There we go. Okay, so thank you for joining me for this week's Q&A. I have had a lot of questions about adrenals, which is not what I planned on talking about this week, but I want to be able to answer your questions whenever you have questions like this. So I had someone ask me about a loved one in the DMs. Let me see if I can find the question. They DM'd me because they didn't want to share too much personal information. But someone eats a piece of bread in the morning with their mate, eats a good sized lunch, then eats another piece of bread with the mate in the early evening. That's it. And was told they have high blood pressure. Could this be related to their diet? Well, that is definitely not what I would call a healthy day of food. Bread, good sized lunch. I don't even know what was in that lunch, and bread. And so if someone's healthy, I mean, I don't even know what kind of bread this is. If you are someone healthy that doesn't have any health conditions at all, you wake up with lots of energy, you get a solid 7 to 8 hours of sleep every night, your blood markers are all good, there's no reason why you can't eat bread. If you have a health condition, then it's been proven that gluten causes inflammation in the body. And so even when you don't feel it, maybe you don't have to go to the bathroom, things like that, it's doing something in your body. But if you're strong and healthy, you can recover from that. Just like as you wake up and you occasionally bang your arm, it heals quickly, unless you're not healthy. The same thing happens in our bodies when we eat bread. And so that can cause inflammation for anyone. So it depends on the other health conditions. I don't know what kind of lunch this is. I don't know how early and late they eat this bread. I don't know anything about their blood sugar. If all you have is bread and a mate for breakfast, then you probably have some blood sugar issues, because that is going to cause some blood issues. And so I'm not sure about that. The blood pressure medicine they put on was causing cramps and blood pressure medicine can cause all kinds of side effects and things like that. So that is definitely an issue. And she seems better now, and getting used to, it takes a while to get used to medicine. So it could be stress induced. Absolutely. So that's what I wanted to talk about. And that's related to some other personal issues. So I did want to talk about that. So let me find that I'm in the, see where else I can look. It looks like someone's trying to join me live. I didn't even know you could do that. I'm not quite sure how to get you to do that. You can ask, maybe I can, if you ask a question, maybe I can get it. So someone else was asking me, can we talk about how stress affects our health chemically and how it is connected to the endocrine system and systems combined? I heard it's one of the biggest causes of illness. And then I want to know about monitoring high blood pressure. So absolutely. So let's talk about stress for a minute. If you get you're scared, you're watching a scary movie and you're scared for a long time, you're running from something, any of those things, think about what happens to your body. You're scared, what happens? Our eyes get really big, our eyes get dilated, our heart starts beating faster, our breathing is moving more shallow, we're taking really short breaths, and those are the things that we feel. The blood is moved away from our major organs to the limbs, because we need to be able to run. We also, to be able to run, all the chemicals are released, cortisol is released, and different signals chemically are secreted to all the different organs, or some chemicals are sent to the different organs to secrete different hormones. So that's how it's related to the endocrine system. So in here, our body is told the hormones, tell our intestines to slow down. They tell our thyroid to stop converting from T4 to T3. We need to slow everything down on the inside, because we need to fight and get away. It's not time to digest our food. It's not time to process things. And so that's why we have such a problem with chronic constipation in people today. I mean, you should go to the bathroom 3 times a day, just like a puppy, just like a baby. Every time you eat, your stomach expands, the signal is sent to the ileocecal valve to open, and things get moved along for us to poop. Well, we learn to hold it, we get under a lot of stress, and things slow down. Motility, the movement of our intestines slows. And so we are not digesting foods. Things sit in our intestines too long, And then we start absorbing toxins. That is when we start having some inflammatory issues. Another thing is to be able to run in fights, hormones are sent to tell our liver to release our glycogen stores, to release sugar into the bloodstream, because we're going to need a lot of energy. And so when we have all the sugar coming into the bloodstream, we have higher insulin. Sugar, think about a sugar crystal. Have you ever grown the sugar crystals in school? Rock sugar. It's crystals. It's hard. It's got little spiky. It's sharp, right? If you like, I wouldn't want to rub my hands on some sugar. People use it as a scrub, that because it's rough. Well, that is what is going on in our arteries and in our veins. And so it's bumping up against things and causing inflammation and damage in the arteries and the veins. So that is going to cause circulation issues, damages on the arteries. And so that is what's causing the high blood pressure when you are under chronic stress. So I hope that that helps with that, as well as other things. It affects our electrolytes. If you've ever craving sugar, it's usually a sign that you need, salt. If you're craving salt, your electrolytes are off balance. That is a sign for adrenal. And craving sugar, you're under too much stress. Your body needs more sugar. And that's why a lot of us crave sugar around 3 o'clock. Maybe we ate something that caused the blood sugar spike, or maybe we're under stress and our body's saying we need more and more sugar, and it doesn't care where it comes from. Your body wants sugar to be able to run and fight and do whatever is caused by the adrenals. And so because you asked a little bit more about that, if we have chronic stress, it usually affects our sleep. Our heart is beating faster. We have trouble slowing down. We have the racing thoughts, things like that. Our blood sugar is up. Our respiration is up. Our digestion slows down because it's not a good time to stop and go to the bathroom. We are in danger. Our body was created to protect us from physical dangers, from, an wild animal chasing you, maybe getting in a fight with somebody, but it wasn't something where we're sitting at a desk and we're stressed out about deadlines and sitting in traffic, every single day, all day long, working on work stressors and things like that. Our body wasn't made for that. It was made for physical dangers. And so when we are under a lot of stress, I'm guilty myself. I really struggle with this myself. I work really long hours. I do have a hard and fast rule as far as going to bed on time and eating healthy. I'll see what I eat every day, but I don't always take the time out to rest and play, which I tell everyone else to do, right? And so that's very important. We have to take time out to rest throughout the day. Now, other things that happen are our immune system slows down. And then I talked about the stress too. And so there's just so many things that it can do. It causes digestive imbalances. It causes inflammation. It causes obesity, the wear and tear on the intestines. If we are not going to the bathroom, the toxins are absorbed in the intestines. That causes damage and inflammation to the intestines. So then we don't absorb the nutrients we need to absorb. We don't secrete the different digestive enzymes. So even though we're under a lot of stress, we're still stopping to eat snacks, eat meals, whatever, but we're under stress. And so the digestion slowed down, the enzymes aren't released, and we're not breaking down our proteins and amino acids and our carbohydrates. And so then we are developing nutritional deficiencies. Even though we're taking in the food, it's just the stress. It's causing some issues along the way. And then it causes injuries. One of the signs of adrenal dysfunction is laxity in the muscles and joints. And so I know for me, it's when I learned this, I was like, oh my gosh, for years and years, I'd be running up the stairs and I would feel like my kneecap slid. And I was like, why would my kneecap slide out of place? But I think it has to be related to stress. Toxic exposures, eating foods that aren't right for you. Those things can also cause inflammation and stress on the body. I know for me, if I eat peanut butter, if I eat peanut butter 3 days in a row, I'm going to get a migraine. And so it doesn't mean that if I eat it, I can just eat it days 1 and day 2. It's still causing inflammation. I just don't get the migraine until day 3. So I need to avoid peanuts because it's just like I woke up in the morning and I banged my arm. The next morning I bang it again, and the next morning I bang it again. Eventually it's going to cause too much damage. And so while it does hurt when I bang my arm, it doesn't hurt me when I eat peanuts or peanut butter day 1. I don't feel it till day 3, but it's still causing inflammation in there somewhere. So a lot of us do have different food allergies and food sensitivities and things like that. How do you fix that? You can do what's called an elimination diet, or a rare foods diet, where you remove foods that you eat all the time, and you eat foods that you don't normally eat for 3 or 4 days, because it takes 3 days for your intestinal lining cells to replace themselves. And so if you wait until day 4, then you can take a food that maybe you haven't had in 4 days and try it and see if it causes any issues. Now, if it's something like gluten, for me, I didn't know gluten was bad for me. I cut it out for a month. My blood markers didn't change. And I went, oh, see, gluten doesn't make a difference. But then when I took it out for 6 months, then that's when all my antibodies improved. And so for some people, it does take that long. Now, I used to bake all the time. I baked bread every weekend, sometimes in the middle of the week. And I just made loads of bread, a loaf of bread, bagels, pizza crust, all these things. I was a huge bread eater. So it just took me longer to repair all of the damage from that. So let me see if I have any other questions. Okay, about monitoring high blood pressure. Many people know or having high blood pressure. And I was told by a medic that a manual monitor rather than a digital one was most accurate. I can't help you with that. I don't know which monitor is better. I don't even have a blood pressure monitor, so I'm not familiar with that. I'm sorry. A lot of people do have high blood pressure though, and it can be related to stress. It can be related to blood sugar imbalance. And so then I also had another question in my DMs about adrenals and stress. Not only how does it affect you and your endocrine system, what else was it? See if I can find it. Um, let's see. When people send me personal stuff, I don't want to read it out loud. Oh, I lost where I was going with that. So the adrenals are definitely one of those things. The more I learn about the adrenals, the more that I see they are strongly related to so many health conditions. A lot of times, I don't know if any of you have watched Square One with Chris Work. He had, I want to say, stage 4 colon cancer. And then he created this program to, after he had surgery, he didn't want to do chemo and radiation. And, it's one person, we see these doctors that did one thing, but everything that he did is very similar to what Dr. Walls did, Dr. Terry Walls and Dr. Brooke Goldner, and all these people who had autoimmune conditions. His was cancer, but it was a lot of the same lifestyle things and food related things that they changed to improve their health. And what he talks about a lot is forgiveness and taking time out and resting. And so that all has a lot to do with the adrenals, I believe, as well. Now, we store things in our liver, and so the liver could be involved in there too, as far as emotions go. I know the last time I did a detox, that was the last time, the time before, I had a lot of anger come up. And so it's things you were stuffing anger, and that can be related to stress too. It was obviously causing stress on my organs, and so it was great to have that released. But all of that is related to the adrenals too. And so we have to learn to let things go, to forgive people, and to remember, when you're angry with somebody, when you're holding a grudge, you're not really hurting the other person. I mean, they may be disappointed that you're not contacting them anymore or something like that, but it's really hurting you more than the other person. It's better to just, you don't have to go back and be their friend, but into yourself, you need to say, forgive them. One of my quotes, my family makes fun of me that I say when we're watching TV and people snap at people, hurting people hurt. And it is so true. When someone says something hurtful to you, it's not something you did most likely. It's something you triggered something. It's something in them that has, there's something in there for the other person. So I'm not quite sure where I'm going with this, but hurting people hurt. You just have to remember that, when someone says something hurtful, they're hurting. And sometimes we hide things, even on social media, we don't know what's going on in someone else's life, what else they're going through today, or what they've been going through for the last month or last several years. We just have to remember that everyone is out there doing the best they can every day. Nobody is going out there saying, I'm going to be the worst version of me today, right? We're all doing our best. And so learning to forgive. So all of that just to say that the adrenals are key to so many different illnesses. Yes, blood pressure. Yes, blood sugar problems. And then the blood sugar is related to diabetes and heart disease and all of that too. So whoever sent this to me, you didn't give me enough information as far as food goes, but I also don't have a one-on-one relationship with you or this person. And a lot more than just the food is related to things like blood pressure, to all of our health conditions. It's not just the food. Food is key, but so are the other lifestyle factors. We have to have fun. We have to have rest. We have to have exercise. We have to focus on our diet, eating healthy foods, not inflammatory foods, moving the body in addition to exercise. Like you could sit all day at a desk all day and then exercise at night. It's not going to uncover everything from sitting all day long. And working on our mind, doing meditation, working on forgiveness, and working on having a positive attitude. Anyway, I hope that this was helpful for you. I love that you asked questions because I love having things to talk about that come from you, my followers. And so I would love to hear what else you have, what you would like for me to talk about next week. I am speaking at Dr. Christopher's. No, I went to Dr. Christopher's school. I'm speaking at Dr. Rita Marie's summit next weekend. It's a 3-day summit, functional nutrigenomics and clinical practice. So for those of you who are practitioners and those of you who are nutrition nerds, which I think all of you are, that's why you're in my group, this is a fantastic summit. I think it is $97 now. It was like $49 at one time, but it is so worth it. Each day I go to one of her summits. The first day I am exhausted from all of the information. It will be packed full of fabulous, nerdy science information. So I hope that you can join. There is a link in the Facebook group for that if any of you would like to do that. Also, as I haven't even started working on my newsletter for next weekend, if there are certain recipes or something you would like for me to talk about for the month of June, I would like to know that too. And comment, ask questions. I love to know that you are watching the videos and that you are learning something new. I hope you have a wonderful Memorial Day weekend. Thank you to all of you who have family members who have served, those who have lost their lives to serve. It's so hard, but that's what this day is about. So it's, getting together and having fun, but we need to remember all of those who lost their lives so that we could be living here in the land of the free. Have a fabulous Memorial Day, and I will talk to you next week.